Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Skyliners, and now Sky Watchers. Welcome to another episode of Vash Sky ParkCast. My name is, well, it's Vash, I do believe. And all of you out there watching, thank you so much for tuning in on this, what is an eventful Thursday night, actually. Mostly because, well, there's a holdover from, April Fools, April 1st, and some people in the entertainment industry, or if you are in the theme park industry, maybe you're holding off your announcement until after that day so that people don't get confused when they actually see some outrageous thing. Also, too, this is the launch of the D23 Ultimate Fan Event, or D23 Expo, whichever one you prefer, tickets. And, well, it didn't go according to plan, I don't think, for a lot of people who were very, very much anticipating this biannual, one time every 2 year event right there. Very, very interesting stuff indeed. We'll get into all of that and more on this program today, but I want to go ahead and put out something in the chat right now. If you don't have the allow memberships toggle selected on YouTube, you might have to go into your settings to actually find this, or at the top of the chat. You will not be gifted a membership. We're having some issues on our end with distribution of those memberships that people are gifting. Like, for example, right at the top of the show, OG Dutchy gifting 50 Vash Sky ParkCast gifted memberships. 50 new Sky Watchers right there. But apparently they might not be being distributed. We're going to go ahead and see right there. We're going to make sure that these things are being distributed right there for you. But one of the things that can help us out on your end is if you allow memberships so that you can go ahead and receive them. Very, very interesting stuff happening in the background right there. OG Dutchy, thank you so much, by the way, for supporting this channel the way that you have ever since we started. But especially right now with all of these gifted memberships, thank you. Very much appreciate that. You've been a real stalwart on this channel, and a great viewer, a great Sky Watcher, a great Skyliner from the beginning. So thank you so much, OG Dutchy. This is absolutely awesome. I wish I had like a compilation of clips that I could actually play, or something to that effect, to actually show my appreciation right there. I guess we're gonna have to settle for a little bit of shape language.
And so what we've tried to do is really bring that shape language from the architecture. But like what we love to talk about at WDI is shape language. And we often refer to shape language.
There's such iconic shape language in Spaceship Rivetti Attraction. We really wanted to make sure that we fused to that throughout the space.
And as we were enjoying some shape language coverage, well, we have some amazing people joining us for today's program right here. It is your producer, MJ, and Jess Hearts Theme Parks. Hello there, gals. Welcome aboard to the Vash Sky ParkCast.
Hello.
Hello. Great to see you all in there and out there. The mom becoming a new Sky Watcher. Thank you so much. Very much appreciate that. Thank you, the mom. You've been a long-time viewer of various channels out there. I want to go ahead and give you a shout-out as well. And let's see here. I think it's... can I see it on this screen? Yes, I can. Now it's known for the $1 and no message. Just wanted to go ahead and put in $1. Well, I do appreciate that. Thank you so much. Yeah, we're still working out why these memberships aren't being distributed. I'm going to get... I've put in a support ticket with YouTube, but I don't know if it's actually going to work out right there. Yeah, I don't know what's going on, but you can still support the channel in other ways right there if you feel that your memberships aren't being distributed, which they should be. I don't know if they are. I'm going to go ahead and also contact some of the people who have gifted some a plethora of memberships, like OG Dutchy, for example, Snark Distinct Nugget, and others, to try to figure out what they're experiencing on their end. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. We've got to get into these stories because there is so much to cover with not just what happened today, but also what's been happening over the last couple of days. So I think I want to go ahead and start out, guys, if that's okay, with this story right here. Let me go ahead and share my screen to show you what I'm talking about, because I do believe we have somebody here who knows a little thing about DVC. And it looks like Disney is doing some changes to that program in order to counter what they might feel as commercial use or abuse of their DVC program. And it's got a lot of people up in arms. Let me go ahead and see if I can go ahead and put that on the screen. This is going back to June 2nd, 2025, and going back to this original post right here. Harkening back to when we were covering this, MJ, you'll remember this, on Q3PO Live, talking about the changes that had occurred with the DVC program. Well, it looks like even more changes are on the way. Well, Disney World News Today, this published March 31st, 2026, by Amanda Finn right here. Disney strengthens DVC point rental rules defining commercial use and enforcement actions. Oh boy, Disney Vacation Club has taken a definitive step in addressing DVC point rental. On March 31st, 2026, DVC introduced a formal policy regarding commercial use of vacation points. And this new policy clearly defines what constitutes commercial activity and, for the first time, outlines enforcement actions for violations. This is not good right here. This new rule, it looks like it will be another step that began in June 25, as we went over. The general intent of this new rule is to keep the fundamental purpose of DVC at its core, to allow members to use their memberships for personal use. Essentially, new rule breaks member actions into two categories: allowable use and commercial use. And they define commercial use as frequent or repeated rental activity, large-scale reservation patterns, or behavior resembling a business operation. Disney Tourist blog has a breakdown of all of the things. It's not an exhaustive list, as they actually say, but it's like the most important stuff that you have to know if you are a DVC member. Here we go. The following activities, which are non-exhaustive outlines or limits possible factors and constitutes commercial use. Here you go. A majority of reservations made by an owner or their associates, or a majority of the aggregate vacation points owned or controlled by an owner used by individuals or entities other than the named owner or associate. A majority of reservations or points owned or controlled by the owner or made or used respectively at resorts with overlapping room types and or dates. Apparently, people who are running maybe some side businesses are reserving a bunch of dates they're not actually claiming for themselves. That's what they're actually saying right here. Regular advertising by an owner or someone acting at their direction of the availability of points for rental, including but not limited to use of a dedicated website, social media account, page, post, third-party service provider. This is just basically saying if you're advertising yourself as a provider of points, that might get you in some hot water, as that might constitute commercial use as defined by Disney. Again, this is for their vacation rental system right here, or their timeshare system, right? It's usually reserved for the actual owner itself. You can rent out points, but it looks like they are cracking down on businesses that have established themselves as providing points on a large scale. MJ, I want to go ahead and go to you on this story right here, because I think this is very, very fascinating. It's extremely expensive to buy into a program like this. I have heard from many people who are saying, look, why would I buy into DVC necessarily if I can, go to one of these third-party, point renters, I guess, buy into their system for the week or however long my vacation is, and we'll go ahead and use those points that way. What are your thoughts on all this, please?
Well, I just wanted to let the folks out there know, because we have a lot of viewers and they probably aren't familiar with Disney Vacation Club, and that's DVC. So it's basically a timeshare vacation ownership program. Members buy points and they book their stays at resorts like Aulani, a lot at Walt Disney World, and Aulani is a DVC resort. And then there's, I believe, in Disneyland, California, one or two of them are over there. So basically, the DVC businesses, they are, referred to the commercial side point rentals, where owners treat their memberships like a business by frequently renting out the points or the reservations. And it's very difficult for them to market that themselves. And most of us don't know how to market, we're not really a marketing background, so they hire a third party rental company to take care of that for them. So they'll put out on their website confirmed reservations, meaning like, okay, so we know that these dates selected are available, that unit is vacant, and you can rent. Those points have been rented out for others to use and obtain at a discounted rate. Really, really discounted rates. I'm talking like, one of these rooms could run you anywhere from like $500 a night to like $1,000, depending on the resort. You can get it for less than $500 a night. So, I mean, it's been a tactic that's been used for years, actually. And I can understand why they're cracking down on it, because of probably because of the abuse, right? They want to make sure that it's for personal use. They're not really so much caring if it's like a friend or a family member staying, but they are trying to really see if you're using it for personal use and not so much as like a business or a side hustle. And that's the issue there. So I don't know the actions that these third party companies are taking. I think there's a lot of shiesty ones out there, but there are some legit ones that work very closely with the owners, and the points can be rented out legitimately and well done. No one gets penalized, and everybody's following the rules. So yeah, I mean, look, this was probably eventually going to happen. Just like on your screen right here, you're seeing the newest one, the Lakeshore Lodge. I'm sure that once these policies really go into full effect, if they haven't already been in effect, it's going to really, really, really take place at the newest resort. They are taking precautionary measures to make sure that these owners are actually using it for their own personal use. So it is interesting, and I'm definitely keeping an eye on that. Yeah. So, I mean, every year, the membership, it just rose. I think it went up to like 6% or something like that, or 3%. So, it's just, there's membership fees and dues, but those are normal. They go up every year.
Sure.
So yeah, I mean, it's something to keep an eye on. It's just like with everything else. If you abuse the system, eventually they're going to pick up on that and say, hey, what's going on? You can't really be doing this. So
It's a very good. It's a fair point. I mean, I understand wanting to maximize the value of maybe your DVC investment, right? And so renting out points when you can actually make it, or maybe looking to get some money back for times that, hey, look, listen, I don't want to necessarily use my DVC, or I want to go ahead and give it to somebody else and so forth. I don't have a problem with any of that. And look, I mean, commercial use, I guess to each their own. I will say there are problems, especially for other maybe consumers of DVC, or maybe people who have invested, because, if you're taking up multiple days, and I think they're saying that in any 12-month period, more than 20 reservations are made by an owner and or associate, and a majority of such reservations are not used by the named owner or associate. Okay, I can definitely see like 20 is, I think, fair. That's
over 20, you're like abusing it at that point, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely getting into commercial territory. And again, like, if you want to go ahead and make a DVC reservation yourself, and you're finding that all the dates are actually, taken, and maybe there are some last minute cancellations if things don't sell, that can definitely be problematic for people who had invested tens of thousands of dollars in order to be part of this. So, there is one Get to membership that has gone out. Very, very interesting stuff right there. Make sure you have that on. Jess, I'm going to go ahead and go to you. I don't know how much of an expert you are on this particular subject right here, but I'm sure you can certainly talk about the escalation of prices when it comes to Disney hotels and so forth as it relates to DVC. Your thoughts on all this, please.
Yeah, I know DVC, much like everything at Disney, has gotten substantially more expensive over the years.
Sure.
And it's kind of gone down in value. And I say that because the very early years, I don't know how long it lasted, but you got like an annual pass essentially with your DVC membership. So if you bought in, you were getting your whole vacation. You were not just getting the place to stay for your vacation. But that went away, a number of years ago. They have way more locations. Obviously, MJ, was it Old Key West? Was that the original DVC resort? I think.
It's either that one or Saratoga Springs, but you're right on the money with that.
One of those. They look about the same to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, it was one resort and it included a lot more stuff. And actually, you can go there today, and there's like a room dedicated to the original owners, like with family photos and stuff. It's pretty cool. But it's expanded. It's a way bigger system now than it was then, which I understand to a point. I wish that they would tone it down a little bit and maybe put some more hotels in for those of us who are not DVC members. But it's interesting. I think that last line in that article that you had up, Vash, talking about recording on property of like video, audio, stuff like that in order to market being prohibited as well. I'm curious how they're going to kind of gatekeep that. I mean, obviously once you publish that content, they'll be able to find it, but
I think it's going to go on the publishing side. Yeah, to your point, Jess, I do agree with you. Enforcement when it comes to like the production of those things, right? That might be a little dicey because obviously, as you saw in that footage that we just played, there are people that regularly film these hotels and so forth and want it for personal memories or for some other use right there. So I would think that on the back end, when you actually publish that content, and especially as it relates to maybe a social media page, highlighting your commercial business at that point, that might be an issue. But I do agree with you. The diminishing value alone is one reason why people might not be investing into DVC, and then compound that with the proliferation of rental services and so forth. It's kind of like, why would I necessarily do this? And I think even like Tim Tracker, for example, they're like, yeah, I mean, we don't have a DVC now. When they do go on a Disney cruise and so forth, they do get those concierge suites and everything like that. So you would think that, oh, okay, maybe they would opt for a system like this, but even so, they do not, which I think is very, very interesting. And I think it's a reflection of the limited value when it comes to something like DVC in today's era. I think at a time, there was a time, I should say, that I think DVC was a real value. But now, like back in the day, they used to give you annual passes. I don't do that anymore, and there's a whole a plethora of other things that they just don't provide for DVC members, even if they're buying their vacations in advance at the tune of tens of thousands of dollars. This is very, very fascinating to me because I think these rental programs, I've looked at them, and I've been curious I've been curious about their legitimacy in the eyes of Disney, and apparently Disney has taken note. So that's no good. Don't like that. But c'est la vie. I guess that's kind of how things are rolling are running right now. So we'll keep an eye on this though and see if any enforcement is actually brought against any of these guys. Apparently, as Disney Tourist Blog actually lays out, there could be actions following this kind of commercial use. Apparently, as against their policies right here, including like. The cancellation of future reservations, restrict access to online booking. I mean, this could really shut you down in a big, big way if they find that you're abusing some of this stuff. So that is, I think, very, very interesting. And again, we'll just kind of have to look at this and see whether or not anything comes out of this. There we go. I think this next story right here, I think, is a very fascinating one because it too goes along with the increasing prices at Walt Disney World, but not related to your lodgings, but actually getting into the park. Well, Walt Disney World has announced something about that, and that is their after 2 p.m. summer ticket offer. This is very, very interesting. This by Blog Mickey right here. Walt Disney World has announced a new after 2 p.m. summer ticket offer. This ticket allows guests to visit one Walt Disney World theme park per day for a lower price than a one-day ticket, full one-day ticket anyway. Enjoy magical afternoons and evenings in the Walt Disney World theme parks, specifically priced tickets that provide admission to one theme park per day after 2 p.m. Choose from 2-day and 3-day tickets. Limit one theme park per day. Theme park reservations are not required, which is good, I will say. But it's the price that has a lot of people concerned here. Because if you look, prices for Walt Disney World after 2 p.m. ticket vary by date. For the 2-day ticket prices, they start at $118 per day. Again, this is after 2. And remember, some of these theme parks, what, they close it as early as 6, maybe 8, maybe 10. So, I mean, look at the amount of hours right there. I don't know if this is the value that people were maybe necessarily anticipating with such a ticket offer, but for a 3-day ticket, prices start at $116 per day. The highest per day pricing that we saw for the 2-day ticket was a whopping $158 during the July 4th holiday period. Per day pricing for the 3-day ticket was $154 at its peak, including the same holiday time frame. So this is I like the idea, and I think we've said on this show actually in the past when it comes to like annual passes, right, to have like an after 2 p.m. Epcot pass or something like that. I think that was very attractive to people. They're doing something very similar, obviously with tickets, but at a high price point. Jess, what do you think about paying $118 per day or more to get into something like Magic Kingdom after 2 p.m.?
Yeah, I mean, you're right about the hours. You think about Animal Kingdom, you're getting, what, 3 or 4 hours in that park if that's what you use it on. And there are plenty of people going there for the first time that wouldn't realize just how short of a day they're purchasing.
Right.
It's interesting to me, and I don't think I'm dreaming this, but they used to have this type of ticket offered all the time, not just during the summer. I don't remember when that was or when it went away, but it used to be there. I'm almost certain. So it's kind of funny that they're bringing it back now. But again, it makes me think that this is showing that they're having some issues with not getting enough people in those parks. You're not going to discount it during the summer like this if you have like heaps and heaps of people coming through those gates.
I would think so, and it's it's really interesting to see how Disney has reacted to something like Epic Universe, for example, and some of the discounts they've offered while that park has opened. And now with the summer being what it is, with so much construction actually taking place, I think something like this is very intriguing. Unfortunately, people aren't so enthused about what they actually are seeing. Here you go from Disney Food Blog. The idea is good, but the price is laughable. Disney fans aren't holding back about this huge theme park ticket news. It's by Robin Burks right here. I'm going to go ahead and scroll down to the reactions that people are having right here. Let's see. Folks aren't necessarily happy with this offer. One of our Facebook followers, Andrea, said, I feel like this is an April Fool's joke because the offer was announced on April 1st. Okay, we get that. It's hard to tell whether things are real or not. Christy said, I feel like it's a lot of money for half a day. This is a very good point, especially if you're considering using the ticket for Animal Kingdom, which closes considerably earlier than the other parks. You're not even getting a half day there, more like a quarter of a day at $118 minimum. Londa pointed out, it's not a good value and not that much cheaper, especially compared to the current 4-day ticket deal. If you get half the time in the parks, it should cost half the price. She's got a point there. And when we looked at its prices on the Disney World website, the 4-park Magic ticket is actually less per day than the 2 p.m. ticket. Now, most visitors will want to visit all 4 parks anyway. So yes, the 2 p.m. deal isn't a great one with this Magic ticket around. So, MJ, if you get something like this, right, and you're paying $118 minimum per day to get into to that park, that being Animal Kingdom, and it closes at 6, you're talking like well over $30 an hour just to be there in that park. Your thoughts, please, on an after 2 p.m. ticket. I think it's a great idea, just wrong price.
I absolutely agree with that. They should have tier levels like how they already do for the parks, because each park has a different price. I really think that for Animal Kingdom after 2, and actually, I'm not to rock the boat here, but lately they've been closing at 8:00. If I've been keeping an eye on the calendar.
Oh, that's good.
They're doing some stuff there. Closing the park at 8, which is nice. And I think as we approach the cooler months, the warmer months coming up, they might be doing that more often. I think it's a really good idea to keep in mind that with your resort stay, if you decide to stay on site, you get your early admission. They should have a perk that goes in hand with that. Like if you stay on site, then you would get your ticket after 2 at a discounted rate. Like I would say like 60, $70 because you're only there for a few hours.
Right.
I understand Magic Kingdom is always going to be the highest tier, right? Because that's the most expensive park that they have in Walt Disney World Resort. Speaking specifically on that, I really believe, I was just talking to someone about this the other day, like even annual pass holders, like if you have a Pixie Pass and let's say you want to go on a weekend or a blockout date, you should be able to get the ticket price slashed in half, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, there's no need for you as an annual perk where you get half of what the regular price would be, or just start it at like a $60, $70, $80, $90 tier level. Because Magic Kingdom, whether we like it or not, they do close at 11 o'clock most nights. I hardly see them closing at 9. It's either 10 or 11. And Hollywood Studios and Epcot, they're notorious. It's either 9, 9:30. I haven't seen them close at 10 in a long time.
They used to stay open so much later.
Yeah, it used to. And this year I've been keeping an eye on that calendar. I'm like, when are these parks closing? And especially us that we go so often on both ends. So I really think they need to revisit that. They also need to remember that the stock market, the numbers are speaking for themselves. You need to give a discount to these good people out there that really, just want to enjoy, but they're not going to give you an arm and a leg to walk into your park full of construction walls. You really need to discount it to attract attendance.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's one of the levers you can pull, right, when it comes to theme park attendance and actually getting people into these parks, especially during this time with construction. I think we heard the lever comment from Kirsten Waistlines McCarthy back in the day. She talked about how, there were many factors that they can actually change when it comes to, enticements and so forth to get people in. I like the idea of an after 2 p.m. pass, and what's the saying? There are no bad products, just bad price points. I think this is just a product of the price point not being commensurate with what you're actually getting, especially like you said, MJ, and I think that's a great point. Differentiating them between parks, I think would serve the value much better in the eyes of the consumer, right? When they look at this and they go, I'm spending how much to get into Animal Kingdom? Even if it is for 2 hours longer than prior, right? At 8, you're still talking about, I think, like $25 an hour or something. I got to do the math on that, but you're still talking about a much higher price when you're breaking it down by hour and you're looking to get real value out of it. If people aren't necessarily showing up in the mornings anyway, why not have something that is cheaper and maybe even gets cheaper on the day that they are available, right? So people might be enticed to go to that park sporadically if they know that they can get a cheaper price point the closer to 2 p.m. that you go for that certain day. There's just a variety of things that they can do. I just don't know if this was the right call to make. There is this kind of perception out there, Jess, of Walt Disney World being extremely expensive, and you can see that chart right there. What's one of the reasons as to why, but also to the kind of taking these features that used to be included in your park ticket, like for example, Fast Pass, right, and making that an extra cost item. That perception's certainly out there. I don't think this is diminishing that perception in the slightest, maybe even making it worse. What say you?
Yeah, it's interesting. I was looking to check myself here as to whether or not there were like a Twilight ticket essentially before. And pre-COVID, there was. Most recently in 2019, you could go anytime after noon to any of the 4 parks. Their 2-day ticket was only $88 per day for the 2 days, $84 for a 3-day ticket, or $79 for a 4-day ticket. So that was just 7 years ago.
Wow.
Again, like the graph you were showing, like we're all moving at a kind of steady pace with the increase of most of our expenses, but Disney is just going straight up. It's like the side of Everest there for them. And I don't know how long that will last. I mean, I know plenty of people have already been priced out. Like it's not like that hasn't started. That's been a few years of that now, but it's going to get worse. And I don't know at what point they have to change course here a little bit.
I would have anticipated that with the opening of Epic Universe and the tremendous success that Comcast has had with that theme park venture right there. I mean, what a plus 25% when it comes to the overall attendance for the entire chain of theme parks across the world. I believe their theme park division reported, I think, either a 20% revenue increase, and I do believe at least at Universal Orlando. Let me see. I think they reported just some huge attendance gains. I can't remember the numbers off the top of my head at this moment right here, but it was absolutely additive. A lot of people were worried about cannibalization, that being that people who would have otherwise opted to go to Universal anyway, they're just going to Epic Universe, so you're just shifting guests around. No, a lot of people who otherwise wouldn't have went because of Epic Universe, and so it's like, okay, for Disney, well, let's go ahead and make a compelling offer for people who want to actually come to the Florida area and might be enticed to go to, our park. I just don't see that, though. It's just, I don't see the what is it, the value options being provided by Walt Disney World. I think this is a good direction to go in. It's just, you gotta go there a little bit harder, Disney. Come on. It's 118 at the minimum. That's too high. That should have been the maximum, for example. And maybe like starting at $80 for the cheaper days. For an after 2 p.m. pass. Even then, I think it's a little bit too high, but it's a lot more attractive than 118 starting. So, totally bizarre. Not sure what's going on there. But yeah, MJ, do we have anybody who super chatted or gifted the membership? I just want to make sure that we
I don't have a super chat or gifted membership, but I have a nice question from
please.
someone who probably doesn't know. So you can go anytime to the theme park once you have your admission paid for. You can spend the whole day at the park.
Of course.
They're just debuting an after 2 option that's at a lesser price than the full day price. That's all it is.
Right.
And we're just saying that it's a little bit too steep. So I just wanted them to know that they can stay for the whole day in case they're planning to go.
That's a great distinction right there. I love how you picked that out right there. Definitely, we're interested in providing advice wherever we can. And look, I mean, if you want to get the maximum value out of your ticket, obviously you want to go as early as you can. But for people, hey, maybe you're a late sleeper or something like that, having a 2 p.m. option, that being that you can't actually go in until that time period and it's a reduced price point, is good. It's just this implementation, not so good. Speaking of not so good, though, the implementation of D23 sales, that being the Ultimate Fan event and so forth, that didn't go so good either. But before we get to that, folks, I want to get to this story first because this story right here, I've wanted to showcase it on Vash Sky ParkCast for like a week now, maybe even longer. I just haven't necessarily gone around to it because we've had so much news that has come our way. But here you go. This one's a big one, and I think we have the perfect panel to talk about it right here. All right, from Justice.gov. That's right, the Justice Department right here. We talked about the story back on T3PO Live, if I recall correctly. MJ, maybe you could refresh my memory if I hadn't.
Sure.
But I do remember talking about something like this, where the Justice Department was opening an investigation into SeaWorld Orlando, Busch Gardens, Tampa Bay, and Aquatica Orlando for disability discrimination. And this relates to the use of rollator walkers in their parks. So there have been a number of complaints levied against SeaWorld to the Justice Department saying, hey, look, this is complete discrimination, right? I should be able to use my rollator walker when going to the parks. And you can kind of see what that looks like right here. So people would come up at the gates with this, and they would be told no when they were trying to actually walk in. And the reason why is because if you're using this as it's intended, all good. But what some people were doing was they were using it in a manner in which you can see right here, as demonstrated by your PT guy right here. They were sitting on it, right? Which you can actually use it as a seat. But then somebody else would push them in this kind of impromptu wheelchair fashion, right? And you can see this video demonstrates right here very clearly why you do not want to do this. You can get yourself in big trouble on uneven surfaces and so forth, and there's certainly a lot of those at SeaWorld. So it made sense that there be some regulation, but an outright ban, that was going maybe a little bit too far for a lot of people, and well, apparently the Justice Department felt it was. This March 26, 2026, Justice Department sues SeaWorld and other theme parks over wheeled walker ban. Orlando, Florida today, the Justice Department Civil Rights Division and the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Middle District of Florida, collectively the department, filed a lawsuit against United Parks and Resorts, that would be the parent company of SeaWorld and Busch Gardens, and its subsidiaries, UPR, alleging UPR's policies banning guests with disabilities from using wheeled walkers with seats, including rollers, violates Title III of the Americans with Disabilities Act. UPR is a global theme park and entertainment company that owns, leases, or operates 12 theme parks and experiences in the United States, including SeaWorld Orlando, Busch Gardens Tampa Bay, Discovery Cove Orlando, and Aquatica Orlando. Quote, the ADA requires theme park companies like UPR to provide guests with equal access regardless of ability, said U.S. Attorney Gregory W. Kehoe for the Middle District of Florida. Quote, this complaint reinforces our commitment to holding public accommodations in the Middle District of Florida accountable when they engage in disability discrimination. This is a huge deal right here. I can't even remember when the DOJ actually sued a theme park proprietor for anything. But if you were going to sue over something, I think this might be very appropriate because, look, I understand you want to regulate the usage of these. You want to go ahead and maybe that involves protecting people from themselves. And sometimes you do get that. I've seen people on scooters, for example, maybe they have little kids riding with the parent who might be driving those scooters. And I've seen cast members, like at Walt Disney World, for example, say, hey, you can't do that. And then the situation's corrected.
Just to touch on that, as a person that actually is very familiar with procedures of not just the Walt Disney World Resort here in Orlando, but the majority of the parks when it comes to disability and access, et cetera, because I ask 1,000 questions and I do a ton of research on this. I want the good people out there to understand when you are renting a scooter, an ECV from the actual park, they come with their own rules. So you have to use it as it is intended, whether it's a wheelchair, a scooter, etc. If you bring in your own medical device, they cannot tell you how to use it at all. So,
interesting.
So if you have a child sitting on your lap and you're driving a scooter, and that's your private scooter that you purchased and brought into the park yourself, the cast members, team members, and I'm talking for both Universal and Disney, they cannot tell you what to do with that. If it is a rental from their personal property, they will tell you how to utilize it, and they can also restrict you from using it and take it away from you. So that is a very important point that I needed to let everyone know out there for sure.
Well, okay, so let me go ahead and give you a hypothetical. What if you had a user of a scooter that was maybe driving recklessly or going too fast, right, in which they could endanger other people, at that theme park?
Mm-hmm.
Could then somebody actually come in and say, hey, you got to slow down? Otherwise, maybe it's like, hey, if you want to go ahead and maintain your speed, you can do it outside the park. I think that's something that could be enforced, but maybe I'm wrong. Go ahead, MJ.
Actually, I've tested the waters on that myself, and I have never been stopped by a team member at Universal or Disney. I actually, there's a lot of options to go really slow and really fast, and I have never been stopped by anyone to tell me to go, you're going too slow, you need to go faster, or you're going too fast, you need to slow down. Right, they don't have, it's not in their handbook. This is the speed limit, and this is how fast or slow you can go. But it wouldn't shock me if you're in a congested area and you're like speeding through like Speedy Gonzalez. You can't do that. that you're going to hurt someone. Accidents can happen. But remember also that the majority of the people that are in scooters, they don't want to be in a scooter. They're in there because they don't have a choice. It's an issue they probably have medically. And I don't want to get into it because I know that there's a lot of people out there that use them for fun and whatever. But the people, the real people that need them, they're probably not going a million miles an hour, and they just need to get from one point to the other one because they're incapable of actually walking like a normal person. And trust me, they probably wish they could walk around like a normal person. That's why
as one of those people myself,
Yes.
absolutely. I don't have to use mine all the time. I do have a personal one, but due to a genetic condition, that's just the way the deck was dealt here. And it's interesting, this roller concept, though. I mean, whether I don't know. I think that SeaWorld could easily be looking at a lawsuit if somebody, and they probably have in the past, if somebody takes a fall.
Yeah.
Or you've got your kiddo sits down on it when you're looking at, your ride app or whatever, and they wheel backwards because the brake wasn't on. And it's equal access is what's required. Sorry, Vash. I don't know.
No, go ahead, please.
If we say like, okay, equal access is what's required, not every single item that you might bring in as a mobility device is allowed. I know part of this is, okay, well, then they charge you to rent if you need to rent their item, unless it's just like a manual wheelchair. That I think is where they'll probably find themselves having to give in some. Like, if I walk up and I have a roller and you say you can't have it, then you need to be providing me with an equivalent option.
And I apologize for speaking over you. If I do that,
you're good.
I don't mean to. I very much want to hear all of your commentary. Yes, I think to SeaWorld's credit, or United Parks' credit, I think that they were looking to avoid that, right? They were looking to avoid the potential lawsuit in which somebody, in their view, maybe uses a roller walker incorrectly, and trips, falls, whatever happens, and then they're liable. They wanted to go ahead and prevent that. But again, though, banning the use of a mobility device outright, I think that gets into really dicey territory.
Yep.
I want to go ahead and play 10 Tampa Bay News right here, who had somebody who was thrilled over this lawsuit by the DOJ. Here you go.
Started today. She says she is thrilled about the lawsuit.
People with disabilities should be treated as regular people, and they should know what is best for them. And I don't want money. I just want to be able to enjoy the park like everybody else.
I think that's pretty fair right there from Nancy.
100%. You have no idea what it feels like. All eyes are on you because you have either an invisible disability or a visible disability, and we just want to go and enjoy the park just like everyone else. And we just want to have a good time with our family. And the majority of people with true disabilities are not trying to break the rules. We're just trying to get around from point A, point B. They usually accommodate you and give you a nice place to park so you can get out, go have a nice meal, and the ride situation, that's a whole nother topic, right? Because they need to do a better job accommodating those with disabilities, boarding and onboarding. So,
well, and that's why I thought a DOJ investigation might actually take place over what Universal just imposed on their guests over there at that theme park resort destination. Everybody will obviously know of the tragic events that are connected around Stardust Racers. I want to go ahead and be careful for YouTube's sake right here. But in the wake of that, Universal updated its guidance when it came to a variety of attractions on Universal property, and saying, hey, look, listen, you have to have this certain, a range of ability if you want to go on, like, say, Forbidden Journey, for example. And that was a big kind of thing, because obviously people who may have been able to get on those attractions before now can't because of what happened at Stardust Racers. That I think was the distinction that we were making over there at that park place when I originally covered that with Jonas over there. And it's like, look, you kind of get into this territory of you're not necessarily accommodating everybody equally as outlined by the ADA. It's a serious thing that theme parks, should abide by, at least to the best of their abilities, right? I think there's some language in the ADA that actually provides for that as well. Crazy stuff right here. I'm glad the DOJ is actually taking action, and there's been a lot of news actually recently regarding the DOJ, very recently. But Jess, MJ, any final thoughts regarding this specific topic?
Jess, I'll give it to you. She actually has I don't know if you want to share your book.
I do. I have a book
Please.
Coming out pretty soon. It's the Resilient Traveler's Guide. We're starting it out with Walt Disney World, but I plan to make it into a series for Universal, for SeaWorld, and for all the other parks. Just kind of, friend-to-friend advice on how to navigate some of these issues for disabilities, whether it's physical disabilities, sensory issues, invisible disabilities, things like that. As someone who's been there, who has a kiddo who's gone through a lot of it, I just, you see all the different travel guides for all the theme parks, and I just didn't see any that really delved into the space for those who have different needs in the parks. So that's my passion project right now that's going to come out pretty soon.
That's super cool. Hey, Jess, if you have a link maybe that people can actually utilize in order to get access to your book or something, please go ahead and provide it in the private chat. I'll go ahead and share it in the actual chat right there and show it on screen, because I think that is awesome that you have something like that, because I tell you, I mean, the complications involving going to a theme park, just, I mean, without looking at some of these things, can be very complicated. And then when you get there, every single park does things differently, and every single attraction does things differently. So I think that's really something that is very useful, very cool right there. Thank you so much, Jess. That's awesome.
I don't have a link yet, but it should be coming out probably in the next couple months. So we're in the final stages.
Hey, you send it over to me. I will be happy to promote it here on Vash Sky ParkCast and other social media that we have available to us. Very cool. I think Go and Shogi coming in here.
Yeah.
I've there's a reason wheelchairs have giant wheels. Yeah, indeed. And that's the thing. I understand, parks might be limited in what they can actually tell you and so forth, but you got to use these things responsibly. I think that's at minimum right there. Obviously, I'm not going to go ahead and judge anybody who might be using their mobile devices in the ways that they do. That being said, though, the only advice I can give is just use things responsibly. That's all I can say.
Rollers are very top heavy, and that's why you saw in that video. Like I giggled a little bit because of the circumstances. Obviously, the lady kind of pushing her husband off a sidewalk, but
yes. Like these easily happen.
I laugh. He was a
right.
But they're top heavy, and if they go over even a small bump, they can topple.
They absolutely can, and you're exactly right there, which is why I thought when I saw that video, I was like, oh, that's perfect. That's exactly what they don't want to happen, and it illustrates beautifully why maybe you shouldn't do that. WW Pro come on in here. Great job covering this issue, Vash and panel. Thank you so much, Pro. Very much appreciate that.
Yeah.
I think that it's an important topic, and it's one definitely worth highlighting. So thank you so much, Pro. We got the Pro approval right there. And to show his astounding approval, here you go. WW Pro gifting 5 Vash Sky ParkCast memberships. Please make sure that you have that membership gifting option turned on, because from what I've heard, if there aren't enough recipients, they may actually go back to the people trying to gift them. So we want people, if they're giving, go ahead and receive those gifts. That's all I can say.
Better
right
to
there.
give than receive, or we should reverse that.
Yeah, I think in this context,
better to receive. No, I'm kidding.
We have to reverse that. I think we have a question here from James all day before getting to our last topic, that being those D23 sales. I mean, if you were able to buy in, I guess, lack thereof, if you weren't. James all day saying, Vash Sky ParkCast, I saw a rumor online about Disney stores coming back. Is this true? James, I don't actually know if it's true. I would think that Disney's foray into brick and mortar retail might be coming to its conclusion. There might be some outlets and so forth, or prominent Disney stores available in some regions and some markets. But I think Justy Morrow, and especially this Walt Disney Company, I think they want to lower their expenditures, lower their costs. And Justy Morrow comes from consumer products, so he's intimately aware about the value and maybe getting back into that.
It's a strategy.
Mortar.
They want you. It's a strategy that they have because they want you in the Walt Disney World bubble to visit their grand store over there. And
Sure.
They want you at the downtown Disneyland, California. They want you in that area so you can specifically do your shopping. They want it all in house, so
Yeah,
they don't want to. They don't want to pay rent and be in strip malls anymore. I mean, they just got rid of the last one here in South Florida at Sawgrass. That's gone. Mm-hmm.
If you're ever looking for lower cost Disney items, though, there are 2 different Disney character warehouse locations near Disney. One is by Disney World and the other one is closer to Universal. If you've never checked those out, they're usually in like the outlet malls, like premium outlets or whatever they're owned by now. I don't remember, but those are really good to check out. They usually have stuff that's not selling very well in the parks. Some of it is selling well and they just have too much of it. And you can get really good discounts on clothing.
I agree.
And popcorn buckets and ears and plush and all sorts of stuff.
Oh yeah, pajamas too.
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people who maybe didn't live next to a park like the idea of a Disney store in their area. It was kind of like a connection, right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we lost a little bit of that when those were done away with. That was back when Bob Chapek, I think, became the CEO, which I thought was very interesting because he came from consumer products, so he knew intimately the value that they brought and decided that they weren't worth the effort. So that was very, very unfortunate for people who like the Disney stores. I haven't heard anything myself, but I'll be keeping a close eye, James, all day on that story and much more. All right, it's time to get to the big one right here. The one that has everybody pulling their hair out. It is the sale of D23, the Ultimate Fan Event, or D23 Expo tickets for 2026. Here you go. Drew the Disney Dude, who we've had on this program before, saying, reminder, the Ultimate Disney Fan tickets go on sale today for D23 Gold members beginning at 1 p.m. ET. Obviously, as you know, that time has passed. And how'd it go? Well, it went as well as you can expect from Disney IT. Oh, no good. No good. Here you go from Mouse Planet right here. Big outlet. You can see just, tapping into the queue as soon as it went live over there at 1 p.m. Eastern. You can see they were 30,000 in line. And actually, that was a lot better than so many others out there. You can see right here, Alyssa Tapia here. Not as bad as what I got. That was 62,000 people ahead of them in queue. Mouse Planet saying there are still 70,000 people in the queue for Disney D23 tickets now after 20 minutes after members with the complimentary Disney Plus membership were allowed to join. And did everyone get the tickets that they hoped for today? I know they were doing complimentary gold memberships there. Interesting. You can see right here, Five Flyers right there didn't have a great time. 57,000 for him. Guy Selga, 66,000 ahead of him right there. That's not good. And then, y'all, I'm in 70,000s for D23 Q. This is Sean Ranking the Mouse, who is a travel agent himself, does very, very good work. We gotta get him on this show, actually, talking about a lot of this stuff, because he's a delightful insight right there, but he didn't have a great time. Theme Park IQ, 71,000 ahead of him, and it just goes on and on. Reservations, 73,000. I don't believe he actually got tickets at the end of that. Nick Chappelle having a little bit of fun right there. Everyone's seeing their numbers in the queue for D23 tickets. Yeah, it's not good, as you know. Olaf, took a spill right there, and we all wondered why. Maybe this was it. Maybe he was looking at his queue numbers in the future and just, had a malfunction. You can see some video here, actually, somebody posting about their experiences of not just getting through this queue, but actually being bumped out. Here you go. Let's see right here.
Oh, no.
Do the audio.
It's been an hour and I'm almost there.
That's gotta suck.
It kicked me back to the queue. And there's no way. Did that... Okay, it's been...
Yeah, so apparently she was in queue. She waited the allotted time right there and then kicked her out and sent her back to the back of the line. That's not good. This by Tenderly what is it, low blue, if I'm not mistaken, right there. And I think D23 actually reached out to her to find out whether or not they can actually do something about her situation. So that's interesting.
That's very interesting.
Maybe if you have a high follower account, D23 will come to you as well. Just got in. Only floor seats are available. So after doing the 20,000, 60,000, whatever, people were now finding out that the tickets that they wanted for the Honda Center and so forth weren't available. And here's the other thing that happens. So maybe you got through the queue, right? Maybe you got through 70,000 and it's like, okay, you showed up. Now you're looking to go with tickets. The problem is that there was an allotment of 3-day tickets and an allotment of 1-day tickets, that being 1 ticket per day, right? Of the event. That was Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. All the 3-day tickets went out extremely fast. So that forced people to buy separate 1-day tickets for each day. You might be thinking, okay, there's an increased price with that. There is, and it comes from really the fees attached to every single ticket. So, I mean, this thing was a huge mess from start to finish right there. You did have people that were very fortunate in getting tickets, but I believe nothing but the most expensive tickets were available as early as like 45 minutes into the process. That's how fast these things went right here. So not good. And those additional fees and so forth, a lot of people trying to figure out what actually happened, what actually went wrong. But this happens every single time with a high profile event as supported by Disney's IT. Jess, MJ, your thoughts on this particular story?
Jess, please go ahead. I'll save mine.
I have pain on behalf of that poor girl.
Yeah, me too. It's terrible.
Oh my. Do we know? I've never been to a D23 event. Based on the cost, I'm probably never going to be at a D23 event. What's the capacity even like in that place? If there's 60, 70,000 people in line, how many got in? Did 10,000
That is such a good question.
Yes. So I believe the total capacity of the convention space at in Anaheim is lower than obviously the Honda Center itself. So so the Anaheim Convention Center, like every single time one of these is pulled off, the panels and the lines and queues to get into the rooms themselves and so forth to see these panels, these individual panels, even at the largest space in the Anaheim Convention Center is extremely small. And let me see if I can actually get a number for you on that. Yeah, you're talking about 100,000 square feet right there. You have a 7,500 seat arena in there, but I mean,
it's not a lot.
Let me see if I can guess. You're probably talking like a total of 15,000.
Yeah.
For something like that. Now the Honda Center, that's one of the reasons why they utilize the Honda Center now, because it is a much larger capacity. Now, it's a separate event space that you have to find transportation for, so you might buy into the D23 Expo itself, right? And then you might have to get a separate ticket to go to the Honda Center events that are located off-site.
So this
is a whole
not
complicated thing.
One complex. This is
right,
separate.
and yes, and we covered that as well. 18,000 right now is the capacity for the Honda Center. So, Jess, your theme park mind is working overtime, and that is fantastic because when you talk about like 70,000 people in queue, absolutely, you're going to have capacity issues. And again, that's 70,000 people in queue who can buy more than one ticket. So now we get into some real problems.
And
Please
on the other side of that, how many of them are just looky-loos who are hanging out, just wanted to go see, and now I'm waiting 2 hours because 10,000 somebody
like window shopping? Is that what you're talking about? Like window shopping? I mean, honestly, with everything going on and the lies, who wants to really go? I'm so sorry. Right?
Well, to that point, MJ, maybe you wanted to go to the Legends ceremony and see Bob Iger get his Legends Award, or The Rock, or somebody.
No, I'm good. I'm good. I really don't want to see Bob Iger handed an award. Maybe by Olaf, if Olaf. Bring can hold off from Paris, have him fall apart when he hands it over to Iger. I
Yeah,
just
exactly
cannot
right.
picture anyone right now with this regime and the way that we're falling into like everything that's happening. Why would you want to go to this event? I mean, maybe it's for clout, like, oh, I'm here and posting pictures. I mean, I don't understand, like, all of the merch that they have over there. I'm pretty sure they're going to have it at the stores pretty soon. It's probably going to go on clearance. Even if I had the money, I'm not intrigued in going and being lied to. 'Cause that's all they seem to do lately is lie at these events.
And I think the reason why you're saying that is because, we've just seen panels at these D23 Expo or Ultimate Fan events, right, in which you are showcasing maybe future park concepts and so forth. And then you see those things and it's like, oh, that's great. And then those things don't materialize.
Oh.
2019, I think, is infamous for this, right? We saw all those concepts at Epcot and those never came to pass. We saw, I think, from Josh Dimar himself, I believe, going back to the 2022 D23 Ultimate Fan Event or D23 Expo, as it was known back in the day, they had like a what if segment. And I saw some major outlets reporting on that as like, oh, they're doing this and they're doing a Moana land and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, no. This was, what if we did these things? What could we do? And so, I think there has been a diminishment maybe on the enthusiasm related to these events just because of, one, like you said, MJ, what they actually offer, right? In terms of substance, maybe not so good. And two, the complications related to this event. Trying to go is just a Herculean effort to try to go and enjoy yourself. Here you go from Go and Shogi right here for $2. Thank you so much, by the way. I'm not a crowds guy. D23 would be my nightmare. I went myself back in the day. This was at, I think, the 2011 D23 Expo. I believe I was at the second one. I tried, and you know what? It didn't work out at all. Very stressful event right there. And the Disney community, while large, was not maybe as large as it is today. And so I can only imagine the demand for something like this. I mean, there were fist fights that actually occurred at the convention where people, accuse others of actually, cutting them in line and so forth. And the event itself used to be staffed by cast members. Now they are not. It's staffed by convention employees right there who might not be as experienced in handling large crowds and so forth as maybe Disney cast members are. And so you have a diminished experience there. It's just a whole nightmare. And that's when you get in. These are the people trying to buy their way in, right? Just to try to walk in the door. And that's where your struggles began. We're not even talking about the event. So it's like, to me, I agree with you guys. Would I go? No. But, that's just me. For people who wanted to go and had the right to go, well, now they're limited because of IT problems on Disney's end. Jess, come on. Like, if you're going to have so many digital features, why can't Disney get their IT together?
It's wild to me for that large of a corporation with that large of a customer base all across the globe. You would think that they would have this down to a pretty fine science at this point.
I would think.
But man, it's when you can anticipate that people are going to break your website before you even launch the product. I mean, that's not a good sign.
No.
It's not. Well, it's a great problem to have, I'm sure. But for everybody who actually wants to engage with the company's products, it's not good for sure. When it comes to like Oogie Boogie Bash, for example, right? That's probably one of the largest After Dark events at Disneyland Resort currently right now. When those tickets go live, it seems like every year or so they have issues, they have problems relating to that. There's a plethora of problems connected to like Disney's use of their app, right? Their I think it's My Magical Experience app, or what is it called over there at Walt Disney World? Over here, it's just called Disneyland Resort app, but I know
it's the My Experience app.
My Experiences app. Yeah, it's just like when you're trying to make a reservation, right? Maybe that doesn't work. Maybe you're trying to get the value out of your Lightning Lane multi-pass, and you're trying to make a reservation there, and that doesn't go through. I don't know why. Disney continuously has problems with IT. I have no idea why. Here, it looks like they were able to facilitate at least some of that demand. But when you're bumping people out, it's...
That just doesn't make any sense. And like Jess was saying, the magnitude of your company, it just goes to show what kind of programs they really are investing in to utilize for their content. And that goes on all platforms, even the AI situation they had that crumbled down. Like, they really need to up their game and invest properly, because it just seems like every investment that they have going on lately is not properly invested. And it's just money going down the drain on something that's no good, and including that waiting portal for those poor people trying to make their way into that, astronomical event. I'm not interested in hearing about the lies. There's enough there in the Disney community. There's so many vloggers that are going to be sharing what's going down that people can just watch it from the comfort of their homes, and they receive the lives in your living room. People don't worry about going in person.
I mean, I will say, MJ, that this last D23 Expo or Ultimate Fan Event, whichever one you want to call it, I still call it the Expo because that's what it is, darn it. But when they showcased their last Imagineering or Experiences panel, right, they did not actually broadcast that, which a lot of people felt was really eye-opening. I think the only broadcast that they did was for people who were in Fortnite during the kind of Epic Games or the games section of the Experiences Division panel or whatever, and that's where they debuted the update to the Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run and so forth. So it's like, yes, right? If they were actually broadcasting these events, which they should, I think, then you can actually take advantage that way. But I guess we just want to maximize revenue potential for something that used to be for the fans, and now it's clearly not so much, at least in my opinion. But c'est la vie. That's how the most loyal fans are treated when trying to experience something like this. Oh, it's no good. Don't like it right there.
Well, don't pull out your hair. Just go to Tokyo and you'll have some crows pull it out for you. So it's fun.
You saw that too, huh?
You don't have to pull out your own hair.
That's a good one right there. That's a good nice reference piece to something, to a recent story. I might have that link. Maybe I have that link somewhere. I don't know. I've got so many right now. But
we have so many links right now.
We do. I do. I have like well over 150 right now.
Yeah, literally.
Hey, you know what? We got to bring the content to the viewers right there. The only way we can do that is by parsing out information for them. Thank you so much for coming on this episode of Vash Sky ParkCast. A little bit shorter show today because obviously Marvin over there at M4 Empire is enjoying his 7,000 subscriber celebration, and we don't want to go ahead and take any thing away from that. He absolutely deserves it right there. And we've got to pass those viewers on to him. That way you can all join in the celebration and the fun. So, I don't want to take away from that too much there. But before we get on over to the M4 Empire, we have to talk about somebody on this channel right here, that being Jess Hart's Theme Parks. Now, you do have a YouTube channel, Jess, as well. I do. And that link is in the description of this video. I want to see if I can pull it up on the other end. But please go ahead, plug away. Where can people find you out there in this great, big, beautiful web?
Yes.
Yeah, so I am Jess Hart Theme Parks on pretty much every platform out there. I'm not so big on the TikTok. I don't know. I guess I've aged out of that a little bit. But definitely go check it out. We have lots of theme park content. We just went on our first cruise back in January on the Sky Princess. And we're moving down to the Orlando area this June. So way more to come. I'm going to just blast everybody with all of the theme park videos. It's me. My 11-year-old son is my partner in crime all the time, and we just like to go and have fun and share it with everybody. So.
I think that's amazing that we both have an 11-year-old son. That's just amazing. Wow. That's amazing. Yeah.
What are the chances of something like that? There?
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for.
She's great in every way possible. She's got her experience. She's a mom. She's a wife. She's got her family, and that's what we try to do and bring to this show is realistic views from realistic people.
Absolutely.
Yes, indeed. And speaking of realistic people right here, the real one, that being producer MJ. MJ, where can we find you out there? I know you're doing some great work on X, Instagram, and otherwise, but please go ahead.
Yeah, no.
What do you got going on?
You said it for me. You got my X and my Instagram. Thank you so much for having me on, guys. It's been so much fun here with you tonight. In my link in my bio or the description on the socials, you'll see the channels I'm on. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff, and we got some really good things next week for you guys here on Vash Sky, and you can find me on that Park Place too, and Pro Show, and so many other amazing channels, and maybe some new stuff coming up in the very near future. But yeah, thank you so much for being here, everybody. It's remember, it's a good time to be alive, and every day's a blessing. So thank God for that.
That is for sure right there, especially with how crazy stuff is going on right now.
Yeah.
It is always a blessing to one more day on this planet.
That's
right
right.
There. Can't argue, can't complain. I know. Oops, give me a second right here. Okay, right. I think we have something that we got to play right here because one of our friends actually generated it, and I want to go ahead and make sure that we do justice by him. Give me a second here. Let's see. Can I get this up? Yes, I can. Sorry, I'm uploading it to StreamYard right now, guys, because I was a little bit, I was like up to the wire when it comes to preparing for the show, and I didn't have time to do it in advance. Let me see if I can go ahead and do it. Yes, Tom, you were asking about Jingle, Jingle, Jingle. Here you go.
Jingle, 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 I am not Kris Kringle, I am Vash, the podcast king.
There you go. I didn't have the actual jingle, jingle, jingle from Pro, and Tom took it upon himself to provide us with a little content right there for you. Hopefully you like that. And we
jingle,
have the whole
jingle 2.0.
yes. We have the whole song actually available to you guys, and rather than playing it here, we're gonna go ahead and save that for our members only stream. That taking place on Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern, so around noon our time over here on the West Coast. I think that's going to be much appropriate right there. And for people who, I know Easter's going on, everything like that, and maybe some people are spending time with family, but for those who might not be and want to go ahead and, come together and so forth and enjoy something that's really, really unique and fun for members right there, you have that members only stream. It's going to be really, really cool. I can't wait to show you guys what we're actually doing over there because I think it's going to be very, very interesting, and you will not want to miss the guest that we have on for that show. Maybe a regular feature, actually. Anyway, that's going to be at 3 p.m. Eastern right there for you. So make sure you have that membership option toggle to receive memberships engaged. That way you get access to those. And I believe that just about does it for this episode of Vash Sky ParkCast in its entirety right there. I do believe, I'm just thinking right now, if there's any more announcements, obviously we're going to be back on Wednesday, and that's going to be at 2 p.m. Eastern following that Park Place. Thank you so much for coming on. We will see you all on Saturday if you're a member. So do the thing. Thanks, guys. Remember, the sky's the limit. That was totally the wrong clip. This is the right clip. That's the wrong clip as well. I don't know what's going. StreamYard, what are you doing to me? The sky is the limit, man. Come on.